Hi guys, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Nikki. I'm a beekeeper and I make beekeeping videos. If that's something you like watching, then hit the subscribe button. If you're one of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and listening to what I have to say. I really appreciate it. It is a chilly, gloomy day today and not much that I can do with the bees, so I thought I'd do a video and answer at least one of the questions that I get asked pretty frequently. And that question today is, when do you put your honey supers on? Now this video is going to be geared really toward my new or first time beekeepers, but if you're an experienced beekeeper, feel free to stay and watch. I swear when I make these videos, I will get through filming and editing and I always find or think of something that I forgot to mention. So if you have anything to add, I really would appreciate it if you'd put that down in the comment section below. I love the dialogue and the conversations that we have, and I like learning from everybody else as well. Well, there's going to be two scenarios in which you are going to ask when to put your honey supers on, and that is either for a very new first-time beekeeper who got their first package or first nuke, or you could also ask that question if you are a second-year beekeeper. And I will talk about both of those and why a second-year beekeeper probably is going to ask when they need to put their honey supers on. So for my first time beekeepers, you probably are going to get a package or a nuke, and you're going to install that into a brand new hive, brand new frames, brand new foundation that your bees are going to have to completely draw out. So right when you put those bees in, they're going to get right to work on drawing those frames out so they can store their pollen and honey and brood. So all that needs to occur before you even consider putting a super on that hive. Now, depending on the climate that you live in, you may need 2 brood boxes. So your bees are going to fill up that first box, that second box needs to be full, and then you're going to add your honey super on. Now, it's recommended to put them on when they're about 80% full. So when you get your first box, when it gets to about 80% drawn out, you can add that second one. When that second deep is 70 to 80% drawn out, that's when you could add a honey super. Now, your experienced beekeepers, we're putting them on at the start of our nectar flow and depending on what our weather is like. However, if you've just got your package, depending on the time that you've gotten that package, a lot of beekeepers have already started putting their supers on. So your bees are pretty much starting from scratch a lot of times at the point when experienced beekeepers or established hives are putting their supers on. So it's really likely that as a brand new beekeeper, you may not need to put honey supers on for your spring nectar flow. Now you may get into the fall nectar flow and your bees are drawn out and you can put a super on then. But if you don't get to put your honey super on during a spring flow, don't get discouraged, it's completely normal. So since we just talked about how a first year beekeeper may not put their honey super on in the spring, that kind of leads to why a second year beekeeper may not know the exact time to put that super on. The couple things that are going to factor into your supers or when to put them on is your nectar flow in the area that you live in, and that is, there's no definite date for that. It's going to change depending on the weather and your region, but I will try to link some resources down in the description below that go over the different regions and when to expect your nectar flow, and hopefully I can find some things that kind of tell you what blooms and when. So I always like to add resources for you guys if I can. The next factor is going to be the temperature. So in Ohio, for example, our temperature in the spring fluctuates pretty significantly, and you want to wait until you're getting temps in the 60s consistently before you put that super on. To give you an example of the extreme fluctuations we have, today is in the 50s, it's sprinkling a little bit, it's overcast. Yesterday was 70 degrees, an absolutely beautiful sunny day. We've had a lot of days in that temperature range and in the 60 degrees, but we've had a 20-degree drop in one day. And later on this week, we're going to have some 40-degree days coming up with some 20-degree overnights. So those temps are really not temperatures that you want to put your supers on. Now what happens if you put your super on when the temps aren't up? Because you can't put them on way too early. So putting those supers on is going to increase the space in your hive, and it's going to have more space that the bees are going to have to keep warm. Now all of my hives have some brood in them already. They don't have a ton, but there are some, and the bees are going to work really hard to keep that brood warm. That extra space that you're adding by putting the super, they're not filling that up yet, and it just becomes a hindrance to them, and it becomes more difficult for your bees to be able to continue to survive. A lot of beekeepers think once they get to this point in March that they've made it completely through and they're good to go for spring, but people do still experience losses this time of year. So I always just recommend that you not to get complacent and really continue to see your bees through until we get to the nectar flow and the warm enough temps. Now, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you're one of my experienced beekeepers who kind of hung in there and watched the video with us, please feel free to add anything that you would like to add in the comment section below to kind of start that dialogue. If you found this video helpful, guys, please give it a like. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.